Welcome back to Hidden Power. This is a Pokemon podcast. We have a new rumor confirming the release year of Generation 10. We also have some new information, some updates about Pokemon Legends ZA and the rest of Generation 9. My name is DustyGogoat. I'm also with the LumiosePost.
Hello.
And SoulSilverArt.
What up?
It's so great to see you guys. It's been a little while. Behind the scenes, we haven't recorded in a little while, so this is gonna be a lot with today. How you guys doing?
2 weeks, man. 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
The community's been kind of dead. I think we've been having a lot of fun on the channel with our uploads, but I'm ready to start getting back into some Pokemon news.
No, this is my least favorite time of the year every year, right? Because like in real life, I've got the seasonal allergies.
Sure.
And then so I can't escape to the Pokemon world because there's nothing going on.
And so you've been in Italy, right? So you've just been eating good.
Yeah, it's not my least favorite time of the year.
Okay.
It is kind of like a break time. Even with Twitter, I've been just a little more chill and relaxed. What? Because then it gets crazy, you know? It gets really crazy once we get into Legends ZA stuff.
Yeah.
Once we start rolling, we're gone.
Yeah.
You know?
Then we're like glued.
Let's just get into it. All right. Generation 10. So all right. We
saw your video.
Yeah,
that you put on here.
I want to preference
your quick update video.
I just want to, and I think I got a little lost in the sauce, but I just want to preference this to any new listeners, right?
We weren't there to guide you, is what it was.
I agree. Should we say that there's spoilers in this?
I think it's of course.
Why did you click on the video?
Yeah, if you didn't want spoilers, that's what this is. So, I think we need to continue to preface and kind of qualify the information that we're looking at. Obviously, in the past, Riddler Coup, the infamous, you've heard him, has given us a lot of real information, but I do think there's been a lot of mix-ups with his information versus the actual release cycle and with actual games that we're getting, right? I think the biggest outlier for me, and I'm just going to speak for myself, is that we all expected a Gen 5 remake, and there still is room for that to release in 2024. But I think, barring the possibility that could come out next year, I think at this point, it's a little up in the air whether or not that information was real. Was he given false information? It doesn't mean what he's giving us is absolutely wrong, but I do think it's important to point out that there has been some inconsistencies over the last year, and even though he has a good name for himself as a Riddler, as a leaker, right, as someone who provides honest rumors, I do think it's kind of, I just want the listeners to have that context, right?
I would like the haters to have some context too, and that is that the falsified information that Coup had was that this year would be BW remakes or something Unova related. I don't think he actually ever said remakes, right? He just said Unova related games. But anyways, the important thing about that is that Pyoro, who is a very trusted leaker in the Nintendo space, so he's beyond Pokemon, he's Mario, he's NES games, like all that stuff. Everything Nintendo he touches. And he also said that he had heard BW remakes outsourced to a third party this year. Yeah. So
in his defense, though, he did say he wasn't sure about it.
Yeah, he did. He did say that he wasn't sure about it.
Who?
Pyoro.
Okay.
They asked him before Pokemon Day, what are we getting for Pokemon Day? And he said, this is what I've heard. I'm not 100% sure. But I just say that to say, so I don't think that Coup has a rusty pipe. I think that that he's getting his leaks from. I'm saying that I think that either we're looking at one of two things. A game was delayed, and that's personally my thought, but we'll get into that, I guess.
Yeah.
And the second thing is that it could be a case of Top Dog is feeding out wrong information, right? So everyone gets wrong information. Because it is interesting how Legends ZA was so tightly kept a secret, right? Like nobody knew.
They kept it so close to the chest. I've said this to multiple people, nobody that I know, in the leaker world out there, no one put it out. No, I even said there was nothing on 4chan, not even a single 4chan poster put something out there that was oh, it's Kalos. Kalos is so far gone.
The only thing that made sense with Kalos was the hints not even hints, but the relationship to the Paldean region. I think in hindsight, it made sense.
We had like
you could argue there's hints.
There are hints.
We had disproved it even like to the point where it's just like, okay, it's not coming because it didn't come in the DLC, so it's not happening.
Yeah,
everyone was
coming.
Everyone was like, it's not happening.
Yeah,
you know,
the relationship between Scarlet and Violet in Pokemon Legends ZA, right? The relationship between Paldea and Kalos, it's the same as it's the same as like BDSP in Hisui, right? I mean, it's like two different games centered around the same geographical location, right? That's what we're going to be getting with the PLZA and Scarlet and Violet. And I really think there's going to be a lot of references to Scarlet and Violet in the new games.
I hope so. I really hope so.
Mm-hmm. So let's take a look at these, right? So these are the tweets. This is how we operate. These are the tweets. Ku says, Ikaku will not be out too early next year. What does that mean? That's the code name for the game? For Pokemon Legends ZA?
Yeah, just like Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was Beluga, I believe. And I can't think of other examples. Oh, Titan was Scarlet and Violet.
Okay.
I think Ikaku actually means something like that too. I forget, but it's like a
squid or something.
No, I think it's a like a narwhal almost. It's like a horned
narwhal.
Whale.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's
it also, interestingly enough,
means
it's a mark of luxury. It says.
Well, that would make sense with Kalos.
Kalos, yeah. You have to look up meaning instead of this character. Also, I don't know if
narwhal.
I don't know if it's the one that Ku, because originally Ku had said Ikaku, but it was like he got the wrong one, like the wrong translation, because he's not Japanese. Okay. So he posted one that was the wrong translation. It happens.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Pokemon Legends ZA will not be out too early next year, 2025. This is one element, right? I think a lot of people are just expecting the game, and I even kind of suspected this in my video last week, that, I think we're all anticipating the game's going to come out similar to when Legends Arceus came out. So that's like February, January, March maybe, but not too early next year. I mean, I think people are now assuming April, May, like this time next year, essentially.
Sure.
Like a year.
There's so much to be said here, actually, because I remember when this dropped, it's like this was like the big news. This is big news. Right, like I was on a train texting you guys. Like I couldn't help myself from being like, "This is crazy," because this is a lot of pretty much. I mean, depending on how you feel about Ku, it's like kind of confirmed information, and it's very big. But yeah, about it being not out too early next year. It's like I would pay attention to what he's saying. I think people. It's so weird when you watch all of the people that updated this or listen to or read whatever people are saying. So many people are like, yeah, duh. I'm like, what do you mean, yeah, duh? Like, you don't know when it's coming out. Right. We do not have a release date. Like, it could have been early in the year. It could be in the middle of the year. It could be at the end of the... So many people think that this means it's going to come out in November 2025.
Sure.
Well,
that is the other side of it. Because, right, like, I guess my assumption is, if it's not coming out in the middle, at the beginning of the year, it'll come out in the middle of the year, so we still get a game at the end of the year. That's my assumption. But I think a lot of other people are assuming, no, this is the 2025 holiday release. This is the game next year.
It also does say too early. You know what I mean? So too early can be like January, February, March, and the game drops in April. That's not too early.
Honestly, I think January, February is too early. Early next year is March. It could be up to May.
Yeah, I was thinking first quarter. First
5 months. Yeah.
March.
So
I would even say that too, like early for me is January, February, March. That's me.
Yeah.
I think like after April's fair game.
Yeah.
And I think summer would make a lot of sense. And the whole side note to all of this is a lot of people are like, well, duh, it's going to come out with the new Switch. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a release game for the new Switch.
I mean,
that
does make sense.
It does make sense.
It does make sense.
It makes sense.
And I think the game, so like if we're looking at like a raw audience of people who want to pick up or who don't want to pick up and might be enticed to pick up the Switch too, you give them you show them Legends Arceus or Legends ZA. We don't know what the game's going to look like, but if it looks and feels and the art style is similar to Legends Arceus, it doesn't look too far different from Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, right? Those Zelda games. And I think that would be a very deliberate and strategic choice to say, oh, you like, the Switch launched with Breath of the Wild and people ate that up. What if you get this ambitious new Pokemon game that looks, or, what's this new ambitious game that looks like Zelda, but it's a Pokemon game? You love Pokemon, but it's for adults, right? That feels like a great title that feels revolutionary the same way that Breath of the Wild felt for the Zelda franchise. I feel like that would be a great choice for a game to launch on the Switch too.
I agree. I just don't know if they've been working on this now for a while. Like, people think that Legends EA hasn't been in development for a while, but it has been.
Yeah, there's always going to be
probably
who talk like
Legends
that. But
Arceus ended development. Like, they end, they begin.
And you really have to think about the state of how the Switch 2, let's call it, has gone. Like, they've delayed it at least 3 times.
Yeah.
So, like, do you think that they've been working on this game on the Switch 2? Like, just like, who knows what's going on with Switch 2? Let's just keep developing this game on it. Maybe they're delaying Legends ZA to release with the Switch 2. That's an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My big thought on it is, like I said, I'm a believer that the Unova games are coming. They've been delayed. And my big thought on it is, I don't think that Pokemon, or Nintendo for that matter, would reveal a game and say, hey, look, Nintendo Switch, because it has the little at the beginning, right? It has the Switch thing, and then it's the Legends ZA trailer. I don't think they would do that and then pull the rug out from under us and go, actually, it's for the Switch 2, Yeah. So I think, personally, the Unova games are intended for the Switch 2. And that's why those were not revealed on Pokemon Day, is because if the Switch 2, because you have to remember a lot of the rumors for the Switch 2, like there was something with Game Shark that kind of seemed to suggest that the Switch 2 would be launching fall of this year.
Yeah,
that's true.
So if fall of this year Switch 2 launches, then hypothetically the Unova games that are made for the Switch 2 come out in the fall.
Yeah.
Well, if they're not certain, if February's rolling around, Pokemon's building their little Pokemon, what are they called now? It's not Directs anymore. Pokemon Presents, that's what they call it now. I don't know why I reverted back to like 3 years ago, but I was wanting to call it a Pokemon Direct. But I
like Direct better, to be honest.
I did too.
They want the automatopoeia.
Right.
The rhyme.
But they my thought is, in February, Pokemon's gearing up for this Presents, and Nintendo's like, hey, we actually don't think the Switch 2 is going to be dropping this year.
Yeah.
So I would hold that card to your chest. Don't reveal it yet, because obviously Nintendo's not going to want them to reveal a game for a console that hasn't even been revealed yet.
Yeah.
Because you have to think, at this point, Nintendo had not even acknowledged this console's existence. They only did that, 2-3 weeks ago.
Which is cool.
How they did it was absolutely crazy.
I know. They just randomly kind of drop a tweet. Hey, it's happening. It's not going to be in the next Direct. Don't ask about it. Goodbye.
Yeah.
It was literally. Hey,
I mean, that makes sense, right? Because
we got a successor.
So
everyone would be looking like people. Anyways, yeah.
I think they scrapped it. The Unova game, not scrapped it, but scrapped revealing it, because they're like, well, we want to reveal it when the Switch 2 is a confirmed console, and we can kind of reveal it alongside that. And they went, so let's look at what our next game is. It's this Legends ZA game. We could reveal that also to, and they have pressure to reveal something, right? Because what's going on at this time? What's going on at this time is everybody's going, Power World is the end of Pokemon.
Sure.
So they want to put something in their Presents. They don't want an empty Presents, because they want to have something that makes people go, oh, no, we were wrong. Pokemon is so back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to throw something into the mix based off of what you were saying. I was talking to Jake Steinberg about the release schedule, right, and what games what systems these games are going to debut on, and he brought up something really interesting in the wider ecosystem of gaming that I really wasn't familiar with. Apparently, people are still, I think they're still making games on PS4, right? Like PS4 games are still coming out. Whatever the old Xbox system, right? Mm-hmm. People are still buying games for those previous systems. And the idea there is that there isn't a big enough pull to these new systems for people to actually jump ship. So what Jake was kind of suggesting was that based on that, there's a pretty good chance that, I mean, obviously I think the Switch 2 is going to be backwards compatible, but he's basically saying that they're going to be backwards compatible, but like the games will also be able to be just played on any system, or like basically switch. So the idea is that like black 2 and white, the black and white remakes are essentially going to be made for the Switch and the Switch 2, right?
Yeah. What, like, so where they're made where they can be popped into a Switch, but they're gonna run a lot better on a Switch 2. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know that they do that. I mean,
I don't know either. But
anything could change. But like, they definitely didn't do that for the 3DS, right? Like
if they didn't, but the ecosystem's different nowadays, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like I guess my industry is crazy, actually.
Yeah, because my idea is that like back in the day, technology would just like advance so rapidly that you had to continue to update. But right now, it's like, I think Nintendo systems have room to grow. They just need to make it right. Like they could put out games that are on par with a PS3 or a PS4. They could do that, right? They haven't done that yet, right? So that's a big enough gap for them to improve their system, and that's a selling point. But I also don't think Nintendo cares about the selling point. And I think Game Freak wants to put out games on whatever console has the biggest install base. So if the majority of people aren't flocking to the Switch 2, then it's like your games are going to sell worse.
That's such a good point, though, actually. That's a good point for Legend ZA being on the normal Switch, though. Because think about the amount of people that are actually going to have the Switch 2, and will they actually buy it just for that? You know, I mean, maybe they would.
Yes.
But we would.
I will.
I'm gonna get a Switch 2 day one.
Wasn't as popular as like a main generation Pokemon game. So I don't know how they feel about it. What Jake said is true. Like, I still have my PS4. I never got a PS5 after all this time, and I would just buy the games because they release both.
So you can buy the new games on your PS4. That's sick. I never got a PS5, but I also haven't played my PS4 in 10 years or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I stopped playing it as well, but I was just like, there's no games that I want that's on exclusively on the PS5. Do you know what I mean? So like that I would have to get it.
Sure.
And it's like a catalog that you need too. It's not like if they just release one game on the PS5 that I really want, I'm not going to go buy the PS5.
Unless it's like an event game.
It's too much.
Unless it's like a GTA 6 or whatever games. What is it?
I don't know. Unless you're like a hardcore
like the new Elder Scrolls game, right? I'd buy the new Elder Scrolls.
That might
and listen, I'd buy the new Pokemon game, right? If the new Pokemon game's only on the Switch 2, I'm gonna go out and buy that. If the new Zelda game,
but what about casuals though? Like,
exactly.
Would they really do it?
Well, if you're a casual gamer and you've gotten this far, I feel like you will eventually buy the Switch.
Yeah,
but
it might take 5 years.
That is a great point. Yeah, I think that is a great point. I mean, that's also why Pokemon's never been a launch title for a game. In my like that, I can't.
Yeah, no, it hasn't.
But that's why I think it's interesting that like I do think classic Pokemon doesn't make sense for that, but I think a game like I feel like Legends Arceus is a game experience, right? It's like it's so different from what we know a Pokemon game to be. It looks different, it plays different. It's just a different game entirely. That's why I think there is a chance that it could fit that nicely. Way more than, people talk about like a new Metroid game being a launch title, and I'm like, grow up. That's never happening.
No, stop it. No,
it's not happening.
It should be.
Metroid is not cool enough. It's not a big enough IP.
Listen, man, we're getting slammed in the comments.
No, I don't agree with Dusty people out there in the world.
Listen,
Metroid is amazing. Metroid Prime 4,
it's a good game.
I've been waiting forever.
I know, dude. It's a good game, but is it a launch title? No.
It is interesting because Breath of the Wild was a big selling point of the Switch, but with Tears of the Kingdom having just come out last year, there's like no way that like the next installment in that will be a launch title for the Switch. So my guess, that does leave the question of what are Nintendo's, hey, buy our new console games?
Yeah,
probably Metroid
Mario
Prime
Odyssey 2 is like a big guess for me.
Yeah,
Mario Kart
could also be it. Yeah,
Mario Odyssey.
Dare I say a Super Smash Brothers? How long ago was it that the DLC ended?
It's been a while, but I don't think so.
Well, I think, if we're talking about like console stuff, I think it's been like 7 years 6 years. It's been a whole generation, right? Since a lot of these like first-party Nintendo titles debuted, right? I think they are going to either... So, all right. I was going to say they're either going to want to make new versions of these games or sorry, yeah, like updates to these IPs and we'll just make whole new games, but they could just make like deluxe versions of these Switch games. The Switch saw a lot of success doing that with the Wii U. I don't really know if it would work the same way.
They could port Fire Red, Leaf Green.
They could port Ruby and Sapphire.
They could port games.
They really could.
But I agree with you, Dusty, in the sense that there's a chance if Legend Z8 launches with the Switch, then at most, I don't think I see them releasing 2 games, but they could like do an update. You know what I mean? Like an update for the Switch 2, like something like that.
I think it's also, what was I gonna say? I forgot.
Is there is it like so this has come from a guy who knows nothing about game design, right? So I don't know if this is even possible. But I even wonder if like there's a way to so like maybe the game can tell, you know how you'll get special events for like, oh, you played Brent or Sword and Shield, so here's a free Jirachi and Brent Diamond Shining Pearl. I wonder if like they'd even do something like, you know, you're walking around Lumiose and they're like, oh, you're playing this on the Switch too. Here's a Volcanion.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they could do stuff like that.
That's possible. That's definitely possible.
And that'd be fun. Oh, so what I was going to say was, I think there's a good possibility that the Switch 2, you know, we're all looking at this as if it's going to be a jump from like a DS to a 3DS, but it might be more of a switch. Pun intended. It might be more of a jump like 3DS to the new 3DS, right? Because that jump,
that would be small, but yes.
No, but
yeah, what was the difference?
I'm gonna tell you. The difference was that some games could only be played on the new 3DS.
What? Really?
Like two thumb things.
It had 2 thumbsticks.
Yeah, they did.
It was essentially the same hardware, but some games could only perform on the new 3DS.
I did not know that.
But the shelf life for it was so short-lived, right? Because then the Switch came out. But what I'm thinking is if the Switch 2 comes out and it's more of a Switch like that, then it's like, you don't need to say it's the Switch 2. You just say, like, this is a Switch title, right? Think of it like an iPhone, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that doesn't make sense, but like it's like there's the App Store. It's like that is the catalog of games just keeps growing, right? And you don't need to like keep blocking things off, right? Maybe Nintendo's going to innovate in this way and break away, and they already kind of have, away from like the console wars. That stuff is so stupid. And it goes back to my point that like I don't think technology has really advanced that much just in the last 10 years to warrant any sort of continual jump, right? PS5 or Sony and Microsoft, they do that. They do these iterations, but it's just like what they've always done before. And Nintendo never really cared for that, but maybe they just keep making updates to Switch. I feel like the Switch is the perfect console. It literally is the perfect console, right? If only it was more powerful, right? But the concept itself.
Yes.
I wonder, like, you know, often I think about this with Pokemon and you can even apply this to like your daily life. Sometimes you can't think of what would be better, but then they reveal it and you're like, oh crap, no, the Switch is nothing compared to this, you know?
It's so true. It's like, so true.
We just can't think of what that thing is.
No, it's true.
I mean,
I will say though, and I've said it multiple times on this podcast, like I had heard what the Switch was about, and it's leaked multiple times as well.
The Switch 2, you mean?
Yeah, the Switch 2.
I know.
Yeah, what like the specs and stuff like that. You know, I don't know if all those leaks were true or real or whatever, but I trust what I had heard, and what I had heard is that it was just gonna be like a better Switch performance-wise. So like that the console itself. Yeah, but that was years ago. So I think that they've built on that even more. So I'm expecting more than that at this point. But what I had heard was that it would just perform like a PlayStation 5. Like it would have that kind of graphics almost, like reaching that level. Not as
5?
Not as good, but around there.
So like a 4?
Yeah.
I mean, that's still great.
Better than maybe a little better than a 4. You know what I mean?
4.5 then.
4, yes, there you go. In the middle. Perfect. I wouldn't say 5. I did say 5, but I would take that back.
Yeah, I was about, if you get a 5 engine, like that kind of performance on a on a handheld game that can also switch to be a docked game that's on the, then there is no console wars. You just want it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't think it will be as powerful as the PlayStation 5, but it will be not like the Nintendo Switch, which is like, I don't even know what the PS3. You know what I mean? Like, his level of performance
the GameCube,
and graphics.
if you ask some people.
Yeah. So the next 2 years, right? The duration of Generation 9. What are we kind of anticipating this is going to be? Well, just to wrap up and
this is a we do
have so much to talk about.
We got to move on to the next.
Going.
To talk about what you're saying, I know you put out that video where you're saying that we had confirmed leaks, but I told you to say maybe.
I did say maybe.
No, you didn't. You were like, this is a confirmed leak.
It's a confirmed rumor.
He was excited.
I almost commented like, this is not confirmed.
I think. Listen, if we, I said it at the top of the show. If we look at Riddle or Coup, right? Like, what if he's gonna go out? If he's just gonna say outright, Generation 10, 30th anniversary, that's 2026.
He basically did.
You know what, though? Here's the thing. I wasn't even going to go on to this conversation, but no, maybe I'll just save it.
No, you have
You're talking about the Coup conversation?
Well, here, let's, I want to hear what you guys think the rest of Gen 9 is going to be, and then we'll go to Gen 10.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a gap year. That's all but confirmed, right?
But it kind of always was. I've said this a million times.
I think Unova games were intended for this year, so long as the Switch 2.
Unova games would have been. It would have felt like a gap year.
Yes, I do agree, but exactly what you just said.
BDSP would have been a gap year if they dropped that. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee kind of feels like a gap year. When that came out, I bought my Switch. I got Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I played it for 20 hours, and then I said, okay, I'll play Pokemon.
This year's a gap year.
There's literally nothing else to do.
No, that's true. But that's the general idea, is that this year nothing Game Freak was coming. This year, nothing Game Freak was coming. That's all I have to say. Like, it was going to be outsourced no matter what. The leaks and rumors from Coup and from other people was always an outsourced team was doing it, not Game Freak. So it was always a gap year, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah, I think this year was always a gap year for Game Freak. I do think that Unova games were intended this year. There were too many people. People are gonna slam me in the comments and say, "Oh, he's just a Coup simp." No, I'm not saying this because Coup said it. I'm saying this because everyone said this. So many people were going. Everything I've heard says outsource Unova game. For multiple people, multiple legitimate people to have kind of the same idea of what this year looks like, it's not a coincidence. But yeah, I think that this will be nothing. It'll be one of those years where we sit around and go, this would have been a great time to drop ports, but they never do. Next year will be, stop it, Dusty. Next year will be
one day.
Next year will be Legends ZA. My guess will be April, May. That'd be my guess. And then I do think that November of next year will be the Unova games. And for the record, I'd like to say too, I have a little hope that the Unova games will be definitely more than Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and maybe even a little bit more than Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Because you have to think, on the one hand,
BDSP did add a lot. Sinnoh, the base games of Sinnoh just aren't good, but they did add a lot. They did add a lot.
I agree with you.
There is a lot of post game. They
took out
the entire underground.
Yeah.
How is that not good?
We got you. We understand. We can't do a BDSP breakdown again.
I physically can't say anything nice about that game. But anyways, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee actually gave us new Pokemon, right? We actually had Meltan and Melmetal added in that game. But you also have to think, I think we will get that because this will be, if my guess here is correct, if the Unova games are intended to be Pokemon's first game on the Switch 2, outsourced or not, they are going to want to do something a bit bigger, right? They're not going to want their first game on the Switch 2 to be Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl.
Sure.
There's going to at least be a new mythical Pokemon that they tie into it. That also, if you think about it, that kind of ties in well because Coup even teased at points a new M-related Pokemon. Remember, he said there was like a +1 after the Scarlet and Violet stuff. So it makes sense that if he thought that there was a Unova game coming out this year,
the McDonald's
that would be the new Pokemon tying into it.
Yeah. Wait, say that. Sorry, I made a joke. Can you say that again?
You just made up the McDonald's Victini.
McDonald's Victini? What?
For Unova.
McTeeny.
Is that
it's an M-related Pokemon.
It's a smaller M Victini.
Instead of the V
just
crest,
make the red a yellow and
it's an M. It's an M crest.
I like that.
So, I cut you off. I'm sorry. What?
No, you're fine.
What was your theory?
I think the audience heard him. We didn't hear him.
I didn't hear him. Well, I gotta hear
recap. I'm just saying that I think since Ku was teasing a mythical this year, and Ku was also teasing Black and White remakes this year, I think that mythical, and this mythical was not Petra. He said that. He said this is a different thing. He said it was M-related, which a lot of people thought was a monkey, maybe. I think it is tied to the Black and White game, and so the reason we're not going to see that M-related mythical is because we'll see it next year with the.
We do need a movie. Cool. We do need a movie eventually. Like it must happen. So I still think that this year, I know you were talking about 2025, but I'm thinking this year, like, they got to do something, right?
Dude, that'd be crazy if they did what they used to do.
Card game coming out.
Remember back in the day, dude, we'd get a new movie with a Gen 4 Pokemon, and it's like, what is this? You can't even play with it. You can't even get this in a game. What if they gave us a movie with a new mythical, and it's just like absent for a year?
Could be.
That'd be kind of cool. You can get it in Pokemon Go. You can get it in Pokemon Sleep.
I wonder how that would do, though. Like, that kind of makes me wonder. I don't know. You know, I feel like there's a bad side to that, too. Like, they're like, look at this new Pokemon. No, you can't play with it.
Yeah.
They'd have for a year.
Yeah, but they could give it to us somewhere.
A year would be too long.
But they could give it. No, but okay. This is a whole different discussion. I think they could do that, though. I think they could do that. But they'd give us access to it in Go or maybe Pokemon Sleep or one of these other games. So you go there, you spend your money, and then a year later, it's still then they make it accessible in the mainline games.
Sure, right? Throw it on Unite.
Because they kind of did that with like a lot of the Legends Arceus Pokemon. You couldn't get them competitive. Yeah, seriously. Anyways,
Anyways, okay, so I kind of agree with Lumi, but I mean that's because we've seen things in certain Discords out there in the world that have suggested these things. So that's where the confirmed leak came from or whatever. But all I have to say is look at my pinned tweet. I think that it's very possible. No, it's better if they go look themselves. But
He's one.
You can if you want.
Engagement farming.
I know he's in Italy. He's like, please, I need money for coffee.
I do actually need money.
I don't even know how to do pinned.
Support Hidden Power, guys.
Oh yeah.
Support Hidden Power. We need you.
Oh yeah. I'd just like to say I totally got that.
Yeah. This is not what it seems, but also yes.
Well, explain it.
No, that's no fun.
All right, so right now,
the riddle.
Okay. The Soul's riddle is, it's a picture of Black and White. And it's a picture of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and it says, "How would this make you feel? They do have something in common after all." Wow, and there's two L's. There's two L's. The whole sentence ends with two L's, which I think look like the Roman numeral 2, which means there's two versions.
How you spell
it's a sequel. They're both sequels.
It's so funny. People go nuts with that kind of stuff.
They really do. Like, it was funny reading the comments, and like some people were like, "Oh yes, I see exactly what you mean," and like, you know.
Yeah.
This makes sense.
I mean, I would just put together what Lumi said with this, and then that's it. That's what I would say. So I do think that Gen 5 games are still possible.
Okay.
I think this year or next year, but it's seeming like next year. It's a crazy idea, though. Who would ever think they're going to release Legends EA and then release a Black and White remake like in the same year, especially when like they're just going to, people will hate that idea because they already were like, they didn't give Legends Arceus enough time to like live and breathe and be a game. And if they do this same kind of thing, it's going to be the same kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, but since it's outsourced, I feel like people will, that gives it a whole different feel, right? Like, I'll be excited for it. I'm really excited for Unova games. I was looking forward to that this year. But
but we cry.
I do think that like when you see the Game Freak logo, it just means a little bit more, right? Like I actually remember watching people's reactions to the Scarlet and Violet reveal trailer when like it shows that hallway and then it kind of slides over and you see Game Freak and people are like, oh, thank God, you know.
It's true. It's true. I mean, even the Legends ZA one, dude, the first like few seconds when it's like
what are we watching?
What is this? I'm like, it's gonna be some crappy spin-off. I know it's coming, like some stupid spin-off. It was the last like 2 seconds of the trailer, you know, and then it just says "Buy Game Freak," and you're like,
thank God.
I
do think there's some possibility. I do think there's a possibility that like if both these games come out in tandem, there could be some relation and some connective tissue between the two stories, or even just connecting the regions a little bit more closely. Soul, you've done a lot of great coverage. I'm doing
more as well because I believe
Kalos
you right
and
now.
Unova.
Follow SoulSilverArt on Twitter.
Yeah.
I think there's potential. It could be really, really cool. And yeah, I don't know. I was having a whole discussion. Maybe that's probably another video, but I was having a whole discussion with Kuro Blitz about how like they could basically just make it like if it's a black and white remake, the game has to play the same. I think the plot at the end could maybe shift a little bit, and then maybe it just needs a different name. I was like, what if this is the spiritual Pokemon Gray, which is a definitive version, but it's the same game. Anyways,
yeah, it could be. That makes a lot of sense. We could definitely
because it never got a definitive version. Right.
We could definitely talk about that in another episode for sure, because that's a whole topic.
Yeah.
And like the graphics of it and everything, because I don't think it'll be like BDSP. Anyway.
So let's
roll the commercial. We move on.
Okay.
Let's do that.
If you're enjoying this episode, please consider supporting Hidden Power on Patreon or YouTube channel members. Right now, we have 4 tiers, and the lowest membership starts at just $5 a month. Supporters get access to our secret Discord server and help control the direction of the podcast. Supporters also get access to our archive of bonus episodes.
Okay, so our Discord, honestly, is popping. We have other creators in there, too, which is kind of fun. It ain't just the 3 of us. We're discussing leaks when they drop. We talk about news. We'll be talking about how SoulSilverArt has, just garbage takes.
It's so much fun.
It's a place for us to connect.
I'm in there every day. Also, we have revamped our merch store. So proud of every product that is in this store now. We have stickers, t-shirts, mugs, ball caps, right? The dad caps. These ball caps are embroidered. Look at this. It's literally an embroidered.
So clean.
You cannot get anything more high quality than that.
I just got news. Do y'all hear that? Soulbasaur says that he even has his own merch.
I'll talk for him. It's beautiful. Very cool designs. You guys should check it out.
Very Japanese style.
Even the front of the shirt has a unique logo.
I'm getting one for sure.
If you're invested in this show, invest in the show. Thank you so much for watching, and now back to the video.
Before we move on to the stuff he said about Gen 10, so he did respond to some comments. Someone asked him, so is there anything this year? And he said that only that card game, referring to the mobile card game that's coming out later this year.
They spent
he said that would be the only focus this year. He also did say the starters for ZA will be revealed before the end of this year. So that's nice to know.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's honestly really cool.
That.
And what that
he did also tease that earlier. Like if you look at his earlier tweets, he was like doing that one meme, like what's between A and D on your keyboard.
Sure.
Something like that. And it was
probably the stupidest meme we've ever had on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah, but I freaking loved that he did that.
I did like that he did that. That was funny. But I hated the meme overall.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty exciting to think that we're actually going to get, more information about Legends ZA. I think I've kind of just displaced it. Like I'm just not going to think about it because it's so far away.
I think most people have done
we're already like 4 or 5 months, I guess.
We're chugging along.
We're almost 6 months into the year,
I still think we can get a Pokemon Presents maybe at the end of July. I don't think that they wait all the way till August. It's possible, but I think at the very latest in August, and we could get ports. We could get some Legends ZA news. We could get the dude.
Honestly, that makes
box
sense.
Art.
If it really is a gap year, they really could just be like, hey, here's some games.
Yeah.
Stop, Dusty. It's not happening.
No, I know.
We're still believing.
We're still believing. All my hype is actually just being directed towards the 30th year anniversary. I'm just expecting them to do.
That's so long from now, though, bro.
No, I know. So long. I know, but that is when they did during the 20th year anniversary is when we actually got ports. So that would actually make sense for them to do it then. And if they do it earlier, I'll be excited. If they don't, whatever. But speaking of the 30th year anniversary, the second conversation today is about Generation 10. This Riddler has said, he tweeted, "Have you prepared for Generation 10 30th A or 30th anniversary?"
Oh, this is a no-brainer, of course, Koo. We all knew this.
Yeah, no one knew this. Listen,
we all knew this, except then there's like literally half of the internet that would be like, they only do a 3-year cycle. It's gonna be 2025.
Yeah,
that's when it's coming out.
Guys, do I get my flowers? I feel like 2 years ago I said they're gonna do it on the 30th anniversary. Am I delusional?
I think you did say that.
I don't think so. I think that was a very good and accurate thing. I already made a tweet about this, but I had heard a long time ago, before Scarlet and Violet even came out, that there would be a 4-year gap at some point to make it to the 30th anniversary, because the 30th anniversary is huge.
It is.
I was thinking the other day about like when it gets to 40 years, can you imagine Pokemon existing for 40 years? That's just crazy.
Dude. I'll have,
and this is 30.
My kids will be in college. No, that's not true. I don't even have kids yet.
Yeah, it's 10 years,
could be.
Definitely not.
Well,
college.
no, they're not. I mean, they could be really smart. We could be looking at a young Sheldon situation.
My puppy Sunday's going to be 12 or 13.
Wow. Yeah.
So, maybe she'll go to college.
I mean, anything's possible these days.
In dog years.
Yeah, dog years. So, college. 30th year anniversary is in 2026, for those who don't know. Typically, Pokemon games release, and when I say typically, I mean it's been like 15, 17 years strong, whatever. I don't know what the exact date is, but every single new generation releases every 3 years. That's kind of been the pattern. That's
been the case since Gen 4, I believe.
Yep, since Gen 4.
I think it was even before that, but before that there were international. Yeah, there were like delays with the international release of games.
Well, not only that, but Gen 4 was actually delayed. Like they had issues making it, and they delayed that game. That's why like you have the Battle Frontier arc in the anime. And that's why a lot of Sinnoh Pokemon pop up with it, because they're teasing it, because like we know it's soon, but we're not allowed to play with it yet,
Oh wow.
Yeah. But we do have a different situation here now, because we're starting to have Game Freak's Team B make like mainline games that like hold us over. Like that we're getting Legends ZA is like huge. That's big. They're trying to make it as big as a generation. I think there'll be even more in Legends ZA than there was in Legends Arceus. I think it's like to hold us over for the generation,
That's actually so true, because I think one of the biggest, not even an issue with the game, but maybe an issue with the marketing cycle of Legends Arceus was that it kind of got overshadowed by BDSP. I don't think Game Freak was confident in the success of this game. And I don't think they were confident in what the reception was going to look like.
I mean, after talking to Dr. Lava, I thought the same thing as well. Like that they really didn't care about Legends Arceus and were just trying something.
And now that it has been kind of proven, and they're deciding to make another entry in the Legends series, you're right, Soul. They're going to want to. I mean, it makes sense. What they're doing right now is actually kind of great. That they're actually putting all of their eggs, not all their eggs financially, but like they're putting all the focus on Legends ZA.
It gives them more time to develop Gen 10.
Yeah. And we can live in Kalos.
Yeah, they get a little break.
So. We can't rule out the possibility of a DLC for ZA as well.
Sure.
I do agree. That'd be awesome.
I mean,
but
even if it's something small like Daybreak. Daybreak was a DLC for Legends Arceus that was free and really small, but it was something.
Could we be going to Southern Kalos in the DLC?
No, it's too much.
No, but actually, that would actually.
Let us go to another city. Let us go to Kalud City.
Well, actually, yeah. So I'm already. I'm jumping ahead, but just for listeners. So what we're thinking is, 2024 is a gap year, no game. 2025 mid-year, we get Legends ZA, and then the other popular theory is, okay, we're gonna get Gen 5 remakes maybe at the end of 2025, but maybe the DLC is big enough where they could extend the life of Legends ZA throughout into 2025.
I wouldn't say that that's a popular theory, by the way. I would say that we just heard something about it. The
what
Gen
did I
5,
say?
Gen 5 remake.
Did I say that was popular?
Yeah.
I just mean like.
I mean,
if the games aren't coming, people assume that the games are. Yeah, it's popular on the show out of all us three.
Yeah, from us. Okay. But I think that most people think that the Gen 5 remakes will come after Gen 10. And that's still a possibility.
Sure. But, and that would also make more sense.
That's what made the most sense.
Yeah. So
Game Freak's wild.
And then anyway, so that's kind of cool. I actually would like Legends ZA to release, have time to marinate, right? I think it's going to add a lot of really interesting things that we care about in the lore. It's going to add new Pokemon, new Megas, new ancestors. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a whole new gameplay style. It's going to expand the world of the Kalos region. And then there's actually that'd be great if we got DLC that either gave us a little bit of maybe a room outside of Lumiose City, right? Because if the focus of the game is that it's only in Lumiose City, that's great. But then they could be that's big enough in itself. If they were like, hey, the DLC, you can leave the city.
Some people would say, big. It's big enough, but I don't know, because a lot of people think that. A lot of people ran through Legends Arceus, and I personally didn't, because that's how I play these games. Yeah. But you can beat it quickly and then it's done. That's the thing with Legends games.
You can do that with any game.
Yeah. They do it with the mainline.
Legends Arceus was honestly a little it kind of forced you to be slow, because you had the whole thing of you could complete the story in an area, but you still had to get the X amount of Pokedex entries or research fulfillment to be
and it was hard.
Maybe it's just people just say that now, but it really did take long. But people say that it was quick because there's no competitive after, so they're just oh yeah, I'm done, it's over,
No,
I think that's probably why people argue about its replayability. A lot of people say it's not a replayable game.
Exactly.
I think that's why is people don't like grindy, repetitive games, and Legends Arceus does require you to do that because you have to do that to go to the next area.
But I think that's just two different fans of a Pokemon game.
Absolutely.
That's all that is. I play through old games because I like to experience the story, and some people like to just complete the game and then do stuff in the post game and build up their character.
That's usually how I am. Yeah. I don't like to replay a Pokemon game until it's nostalgic for me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't want to replay Scarlet and Violet right now. Maybe I'll replay Scarlet halfway through Gen 10 or something. But
I feel you.
Yeah. So. Generation 10. It's just cool to think about as a real thing, because we kind of joke about it, and we would talk about Gen 10 2 years ago as just this twinkle in our eye. We know it's gonna happen, but we're getting closer. There's nothing to go off of. But now more and more people are throwing out the term Gen 10.
It's crazy though. It's crazy.
Fun, it's fun.
How generations just come up so quick, man. It was just Gen 8 a little bit ago.
They used to feel forever. we're just getting older, so 3 years is starting to feel like nothing. 3 years is definitely. It's nothing. It goes
I really wish that Ku had made this more of a riddle instead of just literally saying it. He just said this, man.
Yeah.
I know he tried to be a tiny bit tricky with 30th A, but there's no way to say this any other way.
That's immediate. I'd never thought of another option of what this could mean.
Yeah, I wish that it was more of a riddle just to keep the speculation alive, Yeah. But the thing is, even I told you guys when I had first heard of all this stuff, I didn't want to say anything because I wanted to speculate more on it.
Yeah.
We
can speculate.
Once we know that, we still can, but there's the pattern or the schedule, it's well, Gen 10 is 2026.
Dude, so I just want to throw a misdirect, but you can go, Lumie.
I just want to say, if for whatever reason Ku is listening to this podcast, or anyone who has actual inside information, not you little idiots who say that you do and you don't. Real people.
Yeah, subscribe to our Patreon.
Do that. But also, can you please remake that riddle collage from Legends Arceus?
Dude.
We all remember
that was
right?
legendary.
That was the best.
We have the potential again, because the thing about that is we knew the Pokemon, that were getting forms. So we could guess them instead of having brand new Pokemon.
With the Megas.
Yeah. Could be fun.
That would be
that'd be so much fun.
If I know them, Jinx. The Chinese community, they will make something like that just because they like to do those things, and
we're looking to y'all. Well. That thing right there, that was such a fun riddle to try to conquer.
Yeah. So much fun.
But now the
Ghost Girl,
the community now is so much bigger than then that I think we would crack it in
Oh,
a
no
week.
time.
Like a week.
No time.
This is crazy. This is crazy. Months. This is literally just like Hisuian Voltorb.
I remember us all knowing that one like immediately. You know, like I remember seeing 4 and going, okay, so that's Hisuian Voltorb.
This is Hisuian Lilligant?
No, that was Decidueye.
Decidueye, yeah.
It's 1 is Typhlosion, 2 is Zoroark, 3 is Enamorus, 4 is Electrode, 5 is Lilligant, 6 is Decidueye, 7 is Quillfish, 8 is Sliggoo, 9 is Samurott, 10 is Avalugg, 11 is Sneasler, and 12 is Ursaluna.
Wow.
Yep. But back then, like when I was trying to get this thing done, I had like one Asian friend. I don't know, like I don't even know where they were from, but they were helping me out with like the language or the references, because the references are all like Japanese or Chinese or so
sure.
If you know those, you could get this in no time.
Right. But like a lot of them are puns on like Chinese words.
It's so true. Heart Cloud is so obviously like Enamorus.
That was the hardest
But when
one.
you see it, like it makes sense in retrospect
because it was a new Pokemon.
Yeah, it makes sense in retrospect, but it's like when you look at this, it's like, what does any of this mean?
I never cracked that one. Someone just told me about it. Like they were like, "Oh, there was actually a leak before this. There was a leak that there was going to be a fourth member of the of the trio. It was on like the Chinese, what is it, 4chan kind of thing.
Sure.
And it was on there, and then we put it all together, and we're like, it's a new one. But anyway, that time was the best time. That was the best time.
I wasn't even like a part of the community. Like LumiosePost didn't exist. I was just a guy who stalked people's Twitters. But and it was called Twitter back then. But
I know.
it was so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to bring something up with this Ku riddle, right? So he goes, "Have you prepared for Gen 10 30th anniversary?" I think we're all assuming. I'm assuming.
I haven't prepared.
That their connection. Yeah, I'm not prepared. We're all assuming they're connected. I still think there is a possibility that Gen 10 could still release in 2025 at the end of the year, because essentially these games releasing at the end of the year, right? It's 60 days away from the next year, which would be the 30th year anniversary. It's less. It's like 35, 40 days away from the 30th year anniversary.
I always thought if it drops November, then it drops actually like 9 months after the anniversary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think, and so there's two ways to look at it. Either during the 2026 starts, and then it's February, so there's the Pokemon Day, big celebration, and all year is in anticipation of a new generation, or the new generation drops in 2025 in November 15th, 18th, whatever day it is at the end of the year, around the holidays. And then the 30th year anniversary, and this actually makes more and more sense. The 30th year anniversary can now be a focus. It can actually, like they can create cards and merch and media, all this media with the new Pokemon of Generation 10 that have already been revealed, and showcase those in all of the merchandise for the 30th year anniversary. And they also, I mean, this lines up with what I want. They can give us ports, because those are smaller things. Right? Those are smaller releases. Listen, and they can also give us DLC to Generation 10, which is a smaller thing, right? They can give us all these fun things that aren't distracting from the new generation, but still reference the new generation.
I think
we can your bet and raise it. It's the 30th anniversary because that is the date. February 2020. What? It's the 28th, right? It's 7th.
27th.
The 27th of February. 1996 is when Red and Blue dropped. How cool would it be if Gen 10, Pokemon whatever, drops, Pokemon Land and Sky drops on February 27th in 2026. It drops on the
Pokemon
anniversary.
Day?
That would be so cool.
That would be cool.
That would be cool.
They won't do it.
But you know what would make more sense? If they go, hey, let's celebrate Kanto.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man.
February 27th, 2026 is a Friday.
Yeah.
I actually don't think that they're going to do Kanto. I really think it's going to be like a Johto thing after
No, but it would be Kanto in Johto.
Is Kanto.
Like, I think they promote...
I don't know if they'll add Kanto to it. They probably will.
They totally will.
Yeah, I don't think that it will be the focus, is all I'm saying. Because Johto is just as dear in a lot of their hearts, especially
in their hearts,
developers.
But if you're going to have Kanto, they got to showcase Kanto.
Maybe a little bit.
Like I think it is important. I think it's important that every generation they have a Kanto game to show to the next generation, right?
Yeah, every generation
it's super
important that they take Pikachu and Charizard and they shove them down our throats.
Yeah. I think that can still happen, but it'd be a Johto game because Johto and Kanto are so connected that I think I really do think it'll be like they've already remade Kanto twice and it's like actually 3 times if you count Yellow. Yeah. And it's just
more if you count the Johto games.
Yeah, and Johto too. I just think that they're so connected, and Johto was it was part of Pokemania. You know what I mean? Like those 2 generations was Pokemon.
It was.
And
Gen 2 was happening.
It can still be a big part of all of that. The celebration.
Did you watch our video about
I didn't.
The Kanto and Johto remakes?
I've been so busy, bro.
Sure, okay.
So busy.
I read your tweets.
Yeah, my tweets have been like, if you were like half asleep and tweeting at the same time, that's what my tweets have been. I was just
those are half.
I have 3 seconds. I'm just like, and then I put it down and I keep going. I literally had a 30-minute break, like the work I was doing like every day. Anyway,
so I do want to just like, so you were saying this tweet, right? You were saying this tweet is not a riddle, but what if it is a riddle? Not a riddle, but what if it is a misdirect, right? Because he doesn't say 30th anniversary. He says 30th A, which is obviously anniversary. But what if it's not obviously anniversary?
I like people like you that try to think that this is something else.
You just think this is straight up? You think it's literally just saying Gen 10 on 30th anniversary? There's no other interpretation you can make? There's no other interpretation you can make?
Not me, but I could be wrong. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know. When I look at it though, that's what I see. That's all I can see it being.
But could that be? Because he says Legend ZA will not be out too early next year, and then he says
he does say 30th anniversary. The only way I guess I could see it is that it's just for Gen 10 is for the 30th anniversary. You know, like so maybe it doesn't have to necessarily be 2026 because he doesn't say 2026. It's just assumed.
The 30th AB.
I just don't.
The 30th Annihilate.
Maybe.
Maybe.
No,
I don't know. I think
I'm just trying to because everyone's just because that's the thing. It's like there's been times before where he said things and we're like, this is it, and then it's not that.
Yeah, but this is very clear. This
isn't like in the past it's been clear.
In Legend ZA. So he's saying the 30th time that we get a trailer for Legend ZA, they will also reveal Gen 10.
Interesting.
Yeah. I will bring this back full circle, and this all comes down to if you believe Ku or not, I guess, because a lot of people don't believe him now. But I think that his track record speaks for itself. I don't think that there's a question.
I mean,
I'm a believer.
I think it's been choppy. I think
there's not been that much.
It's been choppy.
People think that there's been a lot.
Where are the Gen 5 remakes? Where are the Gen 5 remakes?
Okay,
there are explanations in the background.
There are explanations. But from everyone heard about the Gen 5 remakes. All I'm saying is I think Ku has said some things in the past that are a little on the controversial side, and I think people want this guy to not be correct.
Sure,
but you cannot look at Ku's track record and tell me, nah, he doesn't have inside information.
Also,
I agree, but you can lose access to that privilege, right? If he knows something,
yes, you can.
Those things can be ripped away. And what I'm saying, and I'm not trying to listen. I don't care what he said in the past. Like, it's fun that he can give us information. It's fun for me. It's obviously my benefit to believe him, but I'm starting to not really believe him. I'm being serious.
Yeah, but that's just because you're being pressured by a lot I
swear to God, I'm not being pressured by anyone, dude. When have I been pressured by anyone?
Twice if you need help, Dusty.
I'm not pressured by anyone. I promise.
Okay, if you're not being pressured by anyone.
But like when I look at this.
You're just thinking.
I'm thinking we all said Gen 5 remakes, and he believed it because that was the info he knew. And then Game Freak said, no, you're getting Pokemon Legends ZA. And no one predicted it.
Yeah.
That's so valid. You cannot deny, like, you can't be like, oh, well, that he didn't know about that. That's the point. He didn't know about that.
What happens if we do get Gen 5 remakes before Gen 10, though?
Then that's great.
Was what he was talking about.
Then that's great. then that's great. Then I'm down to believe him again.
That's what I'm saying.
But we have to look at the track record. We can't just be like,
absolutely. But when what he's saying, when what he knows and what he doesn't know, what he was not told, lines up with other credible leakers, that's when I'm like, okay, because he did say Gen 5. Pyoro said Gen 5. He didn't know about Legends EA. Pyoro didn't know about Legends EA.
I know. So what I'm saying is,
I think
even though he's had information in the past, I'm not trying to say he's completely irrelevant. We're doing a whole show based on something.
I don't think anyone is actually thinking that either.
No, people think it.
I'm just
true.
I'm not the straw man. I'm literally I'm invested. I think he's given us a lot of real things, and that's great, and I'm grateful for it. Right? It's fun to have these discussions, but I also think until we find out, I don't know. I'm like, he knew stuff, but maybe he knew things that were wrong. So, if they're wrong, could this be wrong?
Sure.
Are you prepared for Gen 10 30th anniversary? Could that be wrong?
It could be wrong.
I don't know.
Anything that he said, anything that he's
that's all I'm saying.
Ever could be wrong. I think with all leaks, and I said it on Twitter as well, there is always a chance that something changes, because it's not really coming down to the leaks either. It's coming down to the developers changing their minds or changing. That's the thing, though. I believe that he has good information. I believe that his information was actually a leak. Whether it changed or not is another story, or whether he had information on the timing of it. Maybe he just heard there's a black and white remake.
Right.
And then he assumed, he said,
totally,
oh, it's coming out in 2024 because that makes the most sense. Clearly there's nothing else. 2024 is coming.
But at the moment, we don't have those
and
games.
I tell you that I'm getting married. If I call you up and I tell you I'm getting married, but then you go and tell Soul that I'm getting married, and Soul calls me. It's like, hey, you're getting married. But in between the time when I've told you and when I'm talking to Soul, me and my fiance have broke up. Well, then that doesn't mean that information was untrue. It just means that things changed.
Yeah, where is Sarah? We haven't seen her in a while.
She's dead. Now, on my.
Did you guys? I was thinking divorce.
So dark.
No, she's still here. She actually did all of the rooms. So the wallpaper she did. I tried to, but she said no. You're just gonna mess it up.
Yeah.
So
it looks great.
Yeah,
tell her
it does look really great. We should have her on for a full episode.
She'd do it.
That'd be fun.
I love that analogy. It also applies to if you told me that you were getting married and then
you killed your wife.
You didn't tell me the date of your wedding, and you could be getting married
2
years from now instead of this year, then that could also apply.
That is also true, because Soul's probably thinking, oh, he probably means sometime soon. But then actually, no, we're planning on getting married on 2030. And it's like, why would I have any reason to assume that you would go ahead and get engaged when you're not getting married till 2030?
I mean, literally, so firsthand experience. I got engaged in 2019.
Oh, well, you were engaged,
and I didn't get married until 2023. So
so there you go.
Extremely valid.
But see, and because things changed, COVID happened. Your lives changed.
Yeah. The Switch 2 was delayed.
I could say that,
and that's why y'all didn't get married till 2023. Was because the Switch 2 was delayed.
Mm-hmm.
He told his wife, "I'm not marrying you until I get news on the Switch 2."
That's true. My wife bought me. We had been dating for 9 months, and for my birthday she bought me a Switch, and I was like, whoa, this is this is incredible.
This is the next level.
And that's when he proposed.
That's when he knew.
He didn't even have the ring. He just instantly married me.
Yeah, I had the Ring Fit adventure, and I said, here's the ring.
It's so great. I'll say one more thing about the coup thing. Maybe it's up to him what he does with his stuff. I've said it before, but if to satisfy the people, or to make the people happy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He could be more in depth or detail about his stuff. Be like, oh, actually it changed, and so this is different. And he's done that a few times just to provide clarity. But he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's like, I'll just put it out, and if it's wrong, I don't care. It's what I heard, and that's it.
It's not a judgment on him as a person. It's just singularly, if he has information, and he had information that was continually correct, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, you have this perfect track record. And now all of a sudden it's getting a little dicey. That's all I'm saying. If it solidifies in the future, I'm like, great. And I'm still gonna pay attention to him because he definitely's got some stuff going on.
Let us know in the comments below. Is Koo right?
Yeah. Do you believe Riddler?
Hashtag it. Magneto was right. I mean, Koo was right.
Magneto was right. I haven't finished that yet. I need to finish it. But yes, I would say also that any leak you should always take
with a grain of salt.
Like,
just
there's a 1% chance
because it could change.
There's at least a 1% chance that it could be something else than what you're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Even now, they could be like, you know what? Gen 10 was supposed to be for 2026, but we have finished it and we want to put it out earlier so that we can make money. And that's it.
Runs like Scarlet and Violet.
Just
be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the button.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good way to end it, to be honest. I don't know what else you want to talk about.
We need to read the patrons before we end it.
Yeah, let's read the patrons.
Okay, so we want to thank our patrons of the month, all of y'all, but we want to give a special shout out to our mythical tier supporters. That's Trash Panda, Rhinestole, Candace Wendy's, Case, Coronet Highlander, and Sully the Skeleton. We want to give an extra special shout out to our Arceus tier supporters, which is Young, Smokey, Hayes, SEH, Art Gold, and we want to give the most Gigantamax
there we go.
Shout out
I was gonna say Gigantamax.
To our Game Freak Inc. supporters, Drogain and Bramtastic.
Thank you guys so much.
We love you guys. Where is it? We love you guys.
Oh, he's got love on. He's got love on his wall.
He did that for y'all.
My Airbnb loves you guys. It has specifically said this for you.
And can we
It actually originally said Drogain, Bramtastic to all of y'all right next to it, but Soul removed it because he was really disturbed how they knew that.
Yeah.
That's the reason.
Yeah, at his hotel. Can we squash? I mean, listen, we're so grateful for all of you guys, but can we squash some beef and some rumors? Because we got a couple.
I hate Dusty and Soul.
We got a couple comments. Okay, whoa, chill out, dude. We got some comments saying that we were breaking up as a podcast.
Oh my gosh, just because we haven't been there.
Because Soul has been on vacation and no one knew it. So can we just like solidify that we're not breaking up? We're not breaking up, guys, right?
Dusty's Dusty's like, oh my gosh, are we breaking up? Because people said we are.
You look what y'all done. Look what y'all done. You've gotten to Dusty.
Shaking his core.
You've gotten to Dusty. Dusty was sure, and now he's like, can we squash this?
We're not like, no, we're not squashing it. It's real.
We're not, right?
But listen,
no, this is my joy to do this.
It really is a pleasure.
Yeah, so it's not ain't nobody breaking up. I'm just on vacation.
It is my best way from procrastinating doing my job.
It honestly is so much. It's so much fun. This is the most fulfilling thing I've ever done. Like,
it's a great outlet
in a fun way.
It's a fun creative outlet, especially because all three of us make content on our own, and that's the thing, right? Is that sometimes you just kind of have so much that you want to let out, but you only can do so much to let out. And so that's the fun thing about these is that, we've spent an hour now talking about, varying things. Like, even though it was all focused on rumors, we talked about Legends EA, talked about possible Unova remakes. What could the Switch 2 run like? And so that's the thing, is it's such a nice creative outlet. We're not going anywhere.
And also, listen, there's no other show on the internet like this, right? I don't think there's any other show. And you guys are funding the existence of Hidden Power, and we're going to the moon. Not to make a crypto.
Are we
reference.
Really going to the moon?
We're going to the moon, guys. I meant to tell you, we're going to the moon.
We all fit on Rayquaza.
Yeah,
Moss Deep Space Center.
That'd be so sick.
We all fit on Rayquaza.
But if you guys want your name read at the end of the show, at the end of the podcast, if you want to get access to our secret Discord and talk with us on a daily basis, if you want to help contribute to the conversation, and if you want access to bonus episodes multiple times a month, you can join us and support the show for as little as $5 on Patreon, or you can become a YouTube channel member. But we are not breaking up, just for the record. What has actually been happening is we've been recording and releasing episodes regularly, but I've also been doing a bunch of solo episodes with some of your favorite creators, and those are just going to go out as bonus episodes. So you're actually, not only are we not breaking up, you're just getting more content. That's actually what's happening.
Yeah. Also, Soul has been on vacation, but the man does need to relax.
Sure.
He deserves it. He's such a great source of info for us all. You know, he's gotta take a break sometimes.
It's not even really about the vacation though. It's right though what Dusty was saying. Like we are. Yeah. It's more so just Dusty's doing some extra content for you guys, and who doesn't want extra content? We're still doing weekly episodes every single week.
And actually, honestly, I should put this out so people can actually like anticipate it. But I'm planning to do a live stream of Pokemon Snap. And Lumi, you should be happy. A bunch of pretty much once during every one of these guest interviews that I've been doing, someone has mentioned Pokemon Snap. And I'm like, Lumi's not even here.
I'm so proud of you.
They're like, oh, have you played Pokemon Snap? This would be really cool. And I'm like, no, I haven't played it.
You mean the guests too?
I thought
you meant the comments. Ooh.
No, the guests have mentioned.
I'm telling y'all, it's because it's a great game. I feel like nobody takes me seriously anymore about new Pokemon Snap, but it really is an amazing game.
Yeah, so make sure you get access and support us on Patreon or YouTube channel members. I'll be doing a full playthrough of Pokemon Snap, new Pokemon Snap.
I'll be there to harass them.
That will be available to supporters.
We are in the dry season too, you know. So we're
and we're pumping out more content than ever.
Stuff. We're trying to do new things.
Yeah. So let's hop off. Let's take an hour break, and then this will be the end of the show for you guys. But we're actually going to be getting ready for a huge guest podcast with all three of us. Plus our guest.
It's Masuda.
It's
Masuda.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new, subscribe. Join the Patreon. Love you guys. See ya.
Good night, everybody.
See you next week. Bye.